record. There we go. I'm gonna be recording this for YouTube, I guess. Alright. As you can see here, you can see me as a stupid degenerate with the Ragnarok, and then I don't know what I was thinking with this one. Sometimes I wonder if I should literally just play Fuego, because I hate doing the first part. But we are starting a new stream. I think we're gonna go with... Cheeks. That seems relatively appropriate. Here, I'm gonna move the mic away a little bit from my mouth so you don't hear my disgusting breathing. If you do, I apologize. I can't really do much about that, I'm afraid. Also, if you came to read the text, I'm afraid you're not getting it, because I've played this game so many times, I'm just here to play it. It still sounds like the game audio should come down just a tad bit more. I think that might be the golden spot right there. Alright, I think everything regarding the stream is set up properly. So I'm pretty much ready to stream here. I finally got my microphone. I finally got my headset to record properly. That was kind of a pain in the ass. I don't know why it was giving me so much trouble. Welcome to my childhood, ladies and gentlemen. I have played through this game so many times. I bet you didn't know this, but if you sneak right here as Mario and do a backwards hip-hop jump into the water, you will immediately take 1 damage. Bet you didn't know that. Alright, I know it's like streamer curse to like save because something could go wrong. But honestly, if something does, I don't really care. Now, I've done a few speedrun attempts at this game, but I don't ever really plan to do one on stream. I think that's ridiculous. For me, for one reason, pardon me, I don't have the proper layout or anything, so it's kind of irrelevant. And 2, I haven't practiced since I was like 16. Now, if you didn't know this already, you can't flee this fight, so you might as well sit down and get comfortable with Lord Crump's sweet sphincter. Alright, if I miss a couple spot dodge, it's because I haven't played the game. Oh, well, apparently I'm a fucking god, actually. Now, if that's not some fucking shit that don't stink. How can you... that's just embarrassing, dude. Aren't you like the evil king of whatever, and you just get slaughtered? Now when I was a kid, this definitely irked me. We slapped cheeks with this motherfucker. We put this boy behind the old slap cannon. He gets blasted by my fingers up his rectum, and then decides he's going to send his little bitch boy army of Logan Paulers after me. Oh no, aren't they the isn't it Logan? Who gives a fuck? Anyway, I'm absolutely entranced by this universe. I play through this game at least like 5 times a year. I usually 100% it, but I don't know if I'll 100% it like all in one through, or if I'll come back and do stuff or something to that extent. I'd like to. I think it would be fun. I remember I was watching, I think his name is Malio, speedrun this game. He did the Palace skip rendition with the tool assisted speedrun. The tool assist, I don't know what you call it. He did it, manipulate RNG perfectly in his favor to not have this background cutscene, but ironically for me, well, it's not really irony, I just didn't know you could do that. I didn't know that was a thing. Like, every time I didn't even know there were devices for tool-assisted speedruns. Wait, no, that's not what I'm talking about. Dude, I am absolutely shot right now. I'm talking about the background. I didn't even know you could not have it happen in your game. I've never heard of that happening. Toadsworth is the ugliest looking motherfucker, dude. But Peach, I guarantee you Peach puts her sweet, sweet clam right on top of his mushroom tip every night for a nice old treat. Now we get a nice lecture on how to use this thought Goombella. You press X and she just starts talking. She was relatively useful your first playthrough. Oh. Pardon me. As is Goombario. But the minute you know how to play the game, using her is absolutely worthless. However, she has a better moveset than Goombario. Now see, I think over the recorded time frame of video game history, people have always questioned why Nintendo put a noose in an E-rated game, thinking kids would not know what it was. Well, maybe they wouldn't because their own kids are brain dead. I sure as fuck was brain dead because I didn't know what the fuck this thing was. But I'll say this, I don't know why it's here. And parents sure as fuck knew what it was. I mean, I know why it's here based on lore, but in terms of like... I forgot what I was talking about, I apologize. I don't remember this girl's name, I think she's like... Spicy or something. I'm gonna fucking slam on your goddamn... There we go. So basically the concept here is this woman dropped her contact lens. Apparently a strong gust came through and ripped her contact lens right out of her eye socket and landed it right onto the ground where we inevitably will squish it. For those of you who've never played this game, you know that no matter, as long as you engage in that cutscene, you will always be able to you will always step on it. There's no way to avoid it. You have to go into the shop and then talk to this guy. This fucking freak. And he'll be like, "Oh boy, sorry pal. We don't carry contact lenses. I don't know why a general store would carry contact lenses either." But oh shit, I apologize. I literally forgot to do the one most important thing while we were in there. I'm gonna go ahead and grab some... Alright. Well, now we get to listen to this fucker talk. Alright, I'm gonna go ahead and grab a fire shroom. And I'm also gonna grab a couple fright masks. Now, the fright masks are just a backup plan in case things go sour. In speedruns, you use them specifically to skip through fights you are sequenced to go through. However, I don't really feel like I'm going to need them. But I have played through this game multiple times and been in odd situations where I get fucking slapped and it doesn't matter. Oh, wait. Fuck. I'm so sorry. I'm so off my game right now. It's a good thing we're not speedrunning this because I definitely wouldn't have succeeded. I'm gonna go ahead and grab the star piece from behind that box with the dead people on the dead people's skulls on there. Vlad the Impaler is in Rogueport. Watch your back. So then we see this blue cum rag run through and take half of our coins. At this point, we have already spent money on things, so it's only 30 coins, so I'm gonna let it slide because I really don't care enough. And honestly, acquiring money isn't really that difficult. But however, I am going to go ahead and grab most of the star pieces that I can grab while I am in the Rogueport for the first time. Now, something interesting about this specific area that I always thought was very interesting. What the fuck? Goombella just sprinted out here like Dale Earnhardt Jr. She's fucking raced out here. Like, hello? So, one thing I always thought was kind of confusing. During the 4th chapter of the game, we have to find this little freak named Darkly, some stupid emo goth kid from that still stays on MySpace, thinking it's the superior social media platform since 2012. We have to find them, and they're back here. Like, for the longest time, I did not know that was a thing. I remember playing this game for countless hours and just getting my asshole reamed. So one thing I like to do is I like to fight this guy. You're not supposed to fight him. You're not supposed to successfully fight him. The trick here I like to use, because I put Goombella in front in case he decides to do the sprint attack, because Goombella can't attack him. Now he's got 20 HP. Now, we just have to hit him successfully with a hammer 10 times in a row. Not a big deal, right? See, if he does this, we can do that and speed up the process. We can do the special counter move. Also, if things start going south, if we get good RNG, he'll just continue to run right into us. If we don't get good RNG, he'll inevitably start throwing it. When he throws it, I don't even try to go for the action command. I just try to go for, is it called a super guard or something? I always just called it the B button block when I was a kid. But I'm going to try avoid getting hit. I tried to attempt it there. It's just not worth doing, really. Honestly, it's a little bit bad RNG. We haven't really gotten the chance to, like, kind of slap him yet. Alright. There we go. So sometimes the fight doesn't take that long. And sometimes I get really good RNG and he really doesn't even, like... hit me at all. Honestly, it's just kind of like a fun thing to do in the beginning of the game. You get a lot of star points for it. It gets you closer to leveling faster. If you're just playing casually, I don't see why not. Honestly, I don't know how long I plan to stream this, but I do think that I will probably stream it for just a little bit. Probably like a chapter or two of the game, as it is relatively late. I'm recording it. I'm streaming and recording this on the day before Memorial Day. So Sunday. All right, so we actually got some pretty decent RNG here to fight this guy. I'm gonna go ahead and slap this guy's tootsies real quick and end the fight. This big boy was talking mad shit, but now he's looking like Jake Paul, getting slapped off the internet. Alright, so the original objective we are supposed to be fucking God. Fulfilling. It's finding a guy named Professor Frankly. The only Goomba in recorded fucking history that doesn't have Goom in his name of some format. Now this guy is an absolute fucking nut job. We're talking an absolute fucking bozo freak. He has 2 layers of pubic hair sticking out the side of his head. And this guy is absolutely insane. I love his little swirly glasses. I love his stupid teeth. I love his stupid cauliflower pubic hair on the side of his head. I love his duct-taped eyebrows. Every little piece of Professor Frankly is an absolute joy. So basically what they're talking about here, if you've never played this game before, is the 1,000-Year Door, the Legend of the Crystal Stars, blah, blah, blah. It's putting me to bed over here. You're gonna go ahead and throw this map in his fucking gob. The legendary door, indeed. So Professor Frankly, oh boy. Professor Frankly decides to join us on our ever so epic adventure to go down into the sewers. Now right here he's gonna ask us some stupid questions. I'm pretty sure you can just press fuck. I apologize. Great. Alright, well, I forgot that you don't want to press B the whole time. So he's going to teach us about action commands, which I've been executing flawlessly, as usual. Ooh. I don't know why I'm yawning so much, I apologize. Goombella tries to hit us with her stupid hard hat, but little does she know, covering my hat. Ugh. Covering my head with my hat prevents the action completely. Now I'm gonna walk over. Oh, okay. Chill the fuck out there, Frankly. Now you let go as soon as the stars pop up. Oh boy. Watch out. Here she comes again. Now we're gonna press square. Oh, square button. We're gonna press B button here. Oh, it is called the super guard. Alright. Wait, okay, alright. Whoo! I thought for some reason we were gonna have to. I'd said, yeah, totally, let's do this shit again. Now I'm thinking. I'm not worried about getting killed down here, because this is the beginning of the game, and honestly, it's not too hard. One thing I will say. So, usually when I was a kid, you can do this. You can do some frame perfect. Well, not frame perfect jumping. You can do some pretty good. You can do some pretty good movement here and jump up onto this. But number one, I'm executing it absolutely poorly. But also during this part of the game, there's a wall there, so you can't do that. So you can't skip this very threatening Goomba trio of the natural Goomba, the Spike Goomba, and the Para Goomba. Now Professor Frankly here is going to tell us all about how we need to get our fucking shit together. So the trick here to avoiding avoiding as much damage as humanly possible is to start the fight off with Goombella. It doesn't matter if you hit the Paragoomba or not. Watch out, here comes Paragoomba. Do you all remember Phil Swift and Flex Tape? Because I'm about to be flexing these Goombas' dicks off. Wait a minute. I don't believe that made much sense. Now that was their apotheosis of fighting. That is by far the best they will ever do in their lives. And they run away crying back to mommy while I progress on my ever so epic adventure. Typically when I play this game, I do the badge point run, where all you get is badge points. Now usually I speedrun this game, so I would skip past all these enemies, but oh, sorry. I would pass by all these enemies, but this time I'm going to be slapping the ever-living fuck out of them for the extra star points, as we did fight Gus in the early stages of the game. This will help us get a level really fast, and it's just, honestly, why would you not want to level? Well, there are a lot of good reasons why you wouldn't want to level if you're speedrunning the game, but luckily for us, my little PP can't handle it, so we won't be attempting it. I will be gathering all the coins. Every coin that has ever been dropped in this game will be received. We're going to go ahead and drop our absolute thick mushroom tip dick onto this Goomba's forehead, which you would think would get impaled by the spike on his head. But luckily it's made out of the strongest adamantium that even Captain America himself cannot even comprehend. This is not a good joke. I'm going to go ahead and drop this. Luckily, we get a fire flower. Now I break these squares with eyeballs and go down the sphincter pipe. Now for those of you who are new to the game, I'm going to go ahead and teach you a little secret. There's a star piece. I was wondering why I didn't pick it up. There goes every cockroach in my fucking kitchen that I can still not kill because they're too fast. But one day I'll fucking get them, don't you worry. Now these little boys are not canon to the Nintendo universe and are literally never seen again outside of Paper Mario Thousand Year Door. They might be in Super Paper Mario, which I do plan to stream as well. I was going to originally stream Paper Mario 1 or Mario's Story, but I ended up against it because I had to set up the Wii U. And honestly, I just wasn't in the mood to bust it out. It's late. I just wanted to stream and have some fun. I'm so glad that I'm not having the streamer recorder curse, where I literally just can't do any damage at fucking all and can't do any super guards. It turns out that I'm an actual god. Now for you pros looking to learn something from the stream about speedrunning, if you do this and then land, if you can get the perfect jump distance, you can get closer to the stairwell as fast as possible. Now if I can do these, I don't quite remember anything about speedrunning this game at fucking all. I also would clearly have just failed, because every rookie who's being breastfed by their mother at the age of 18 knows that you need to grab the black key to open the black chest, which has a little black man inside who will then curse us. I was going to make a joke, but I will hold it for once the cutscene has started. As you can see here, the chest can vibrate vigorously like your girlfriend's vibrator after you didn't dick her down hard enough, telling us we need to find a black key. But luckily, my dick has been erect this entire time and I can just put it into the lock and fuck this guy's throat from the inside. I should have said from the outside, I apologize. Now as you can see here, Charlie Brown's Halloween looking ass face appears, covered in piss, telling us we're cursed. Mario then gets blasted by the flash mob and now can turn into an airplane when he steps on top of gray panels. An absolute abomination is about to be amalgamated right here, right now. And there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. How will Mario save the world when he is only a little paper airplane? Now you gotta be careful here, because I have, in my day, even as a full-grown fucking adult, accidentally spammed past and gone into the more advanced, or gone into the description again. Now what I like to do is I just like to let him dip down and just go, woo! Yeah, it's a real thrill ride. The paper airplane is probably one of the least used abilities. No, the paper boat definitely. Honestly, I don't keep track, but I think the boat is one of the worst ones. I shouldn't say worst. It's not like they do anything specifically. They're just for moving around the hub world and the levels themselves. They're not really used in any other format. Now, as Jeffree Star's glitter shoots out of the ground, you'll see that the 1,000-year map, or whatever the fuck, will start to have an epiphany and find out that it's been in Mario's ass crack pocket this entire time. And will be finally released and be exfoliating its gases. Now, on a serious note, when I was younger, going to this map was always such a pleaser. I liked watching the levels spark and come up above our... Jesus Christ. come up before our very eyes. I liked watching the map grow. It was just kind of cool to watch. This game had a lot of cool things to it. I won't sit here and gush about it for hours on end like Egoraptor back in like 2013 for fucking sequelitis, but I will say that I had a lot of fucking fun playing this game, and I do plan to play it again and again and again in the future. However, if I do choose to stream it again, I will most likely be streaming it as a speedrun. Oh, yikers. I have to get a speedrunning counter though for my stream though, so we can keep track of the time. Fuck! I didn't want to listen to Professor Prankley tell me how to throw crippling depression into my face. And if you didn't get that joke, it's fine, you'll understand in a moment. Basically, he's explaining the star power thing. First and foremost, we learned that we can repeatedly tilt analog stick to the left to shoot the hearts. What they don't tell is you can hold them, so you can almost never miss them. Another small little thing that I always thought was kind of funny that I was the only person on the fucking planet who knew is that there are only 3 green mushrooms, or 3 poisonous mushrooms, whatever the way you want to call them. So once you get the 3, once the 3 pass by, you can literally shove your fucking fist down the special treat's throat. Now he's going to explain to us that once the bar is empty, or the coin, or whatever you want to consider it, we need to get the crowd. Ugh. We need to get the crowd jumping and jopping for us by doing successful action commands and stylish moves. We can get more little star bits or whatever the fuck they're called. These then fill the special gauge up. If you haven't played this game yet, I recommend it highly. By doing stylish moves, the crowd will literally shoot their fucking load all over the stage. Now he's going to explain how many people are in the audience as if you can't count. At this current stage in the game, you can obviously see that there are only about 10 fucking people present. Or if I believe it said 16. I apologize for running a series of tutorials, but I figure if I'm gonna accidentally fuck up, I might as well explain them. Now the great part about this bingo is you can't fail it. So go ahead and get your sphincter clenching because you just got a full audience. That's more people that are gonna watch you in a video game than they're ever gonna watch you in your entire life. I guess unless you make pornography or something for the internet, you haven't been watched by that many people. The last thing Professor Pubic Hair is going to explain to us is that there is a man in the audience holding a fucking AK-47, ready to shoot the whole crowd. But luckily Mario is no fool. He'll use his cleats on SpongeBob's... Fuck, hold on. Joke. He's gonna use his cleats on that fucking bully guy who's... The Strangler. The guy who's like, I'm the Strangler! You know that guy? That's who I'm referring to. He jumps in his eye sockets with the cleats on. Now, one thing I found interesting, just like Mario 64, there have been fan-made ports of the game. Oh, phew. There are fan-made ports of the game of Thousand Year Door, Paper Mario 1, 2, 3, and 4. Well, I don't think it went to Sticker Star. Another thing is that this is the month. So, let me explain why I'm streaming Thousand Year Door before Paper Mario, other than the fact I'm lazy. Right around this time in life when I got this game when I was young, it was right around May and June, right around the end of May, near Memorial Day. I found it fitting to play the game. And I've been talking to my friends about streaming these games and recording them and putting them on YouTube for people's enjoyment. If you really... No, okay. No, thank you. Thank you very much, Professor Frankly, but we're going to go ahead and not get your help for once. So I'm going to go ahead and equip this badge here. Basically, badges are used to edit your character, give Mario new moves, and or just give him abilities and such. Very useful and almost completely required. Alright, so we're at full health. We're ready to go to Petal Meadows. Petal Meadows being the first area of the game. Petal Meadows is by far one of the weirdest areas in the game in terms of like structure. And when I say this, I mean it. I mean it this way. The thing about Petal Meadows is it doesn't really structurally make sense. Fuck it, I'll just take the long way. It's fine. It's not even the way we're supposed to go. So look at me. The thing about Petal Meadows is that it's not like it doesn't really line up with this idea that you're about to go fight a dragon. Petal Meadows has a dragon called Hooktail in it. Hooktail's a little cunt, and we're gonna be slapping the ever-living fuck out of her. The thing about Hooktail and the whole design of the thing is there's just like a village of Koopas who are being tormented by this dragon. But when you get there, it doesn't look like an area that you would like see in like a medieval realm. I believe, if I'm correct. Oh wait, we could have gotten through this fight way faster if I'd been paying attention. If I'd used the fire flower here, I would have been able to negate some of the time I spent. What I was saying prior was that I'm streaming this game because right around this time in life I got the game. Excuse me for the voice crack. I got the game. And this has been one of my favorite games. I watched my uncle play it when we were younger, and he used to babysit me. And when I say he babysat me, I mean I babysat him, as he just sat in his room playing video games, and I made sure he wasn't fucking doing anything stupid. We played it together. That's where I saw it. That's where I fell in love with the game. And honestly, it's just a well-structured game. It's just fun. It's good. It's well designed. Now the thing about Paper Mario in general is just like with some musical albums that get released, these video games come out in a time point in my life that's very critical to my memory. A lot of critical events have happened for me. But for Paper Mario 1000 Year Door, I've played it over such a long period of time. I can almost say I've played it every year I've had it, since the day I bought it. And I can clearly say that I've lived through some very interesting experiences while having playthroughs of this game go through. As for the other games, they just came out at staple points in my life. I will be streaming all the Paper Mario games except Sticker Star, as I don't have means of streaming that game, as I didn't rig my fucking 3DS to plug it and be HDMI to the TV. Although I do have plans on doing that someday. I believe there is a company that does do that sort of thing. I've heard good reviews about it, and I did have a friend a long time ago have his 3DS sent in just so he could do that for his own streams. I won't be shouting him out because he doesn't need my fucking help. As you can see here, Hooktail will be flying by at the speed of sound, going over Mario. Apparently, even though we've been all the Koopas in this area have been being tormented by this so-called horrific dragon Hooktail, it just flies right by us and there's not really much said about it. I will be streaming this game and beating it, at the least beating it, whether it be 100% or not. Paper Mario, or most of people know it as Paper Mario, but it's also known as Mario Story. I'll be speedrunning that on the Wii U Virtual Console. And then I will stream Super Paper Mario. And then I have to skip Sticker Star until I can get it plugged into my capture card. And then the last game I think to come out was Color Splash. Now Color Splash is interesting. Not because of the time frame I played it, but also because of the game. It didn't turn out to be this horrific game we were expecting. It's not the Paper Mario we wanted. However, it is a game that was actually really well made, in my opinion. It has some elements of Sticker Star, which I don't enjoy, but there's no stupid menu organization. I mean, there is, but it's not in the same format where there's certain stickers or certain sizes, and you have to make sure your shoes fit before you can put them on top of your little dick tip and get some honey on your... Sorry. Get some honey on your cock. Now, just to showcase this, we can't get this, and I don't really want to do the stupid glitch strat just to get a fucking badge I can't even equip. However, I will be going ahead and equipping this badge. Now, I do need to check and see. I need to get reacquainted with the D-pad quick menu events. The thing about Color Splash is that it had some remnants of Sticker Star in combat, but it turned out to be fun. It was still a fun game, which was honestly a surprise to a lot of us because we all kind of looked at color. Fucking, are you serious? I apologize. I don't think you can super guard this. Oh, okay. Well, this 2 health enemy just gained 5. As soon as I can acquire the Peekaboo badge, I plan to. The Peekaboo badge allows me to see the enemy's health. However, for how many times I've played the game, I'm pretty sure I won't need it. But it's still good. It's still good to have. Color Splash turned out to be a game that actually turned out to be pretty fun. And it was honestly a very enjoyable experience. The thing for Color Splash for me personally, I guess I'll tell a personal story for fun. Color Splash came out and me and one of my old friends used to talk about Paper Mario, and we were talking about if we were going to get it or not, and we didn't really have a verdict because everything we'd seen of it didn't look that impressive. But we did end up getting it, and when I say we, I mean I bought it first, he saw it, and then found out it wasn't that bad. In that time frame, I was living in an apartment above a general store in my local hometown, where I lived with one of my friends, my first roommate. We had sat around a little bit, and I was getting ready to learn how to stream, but I didn't start doing it until I moved out to this college that I attend now, where one of my friends had explained to me that you could buy a thing called a capture card and start streaming. As brain dead as it sounds and as obvious it may be, I was not into that stuff. I'm more of a music man myself, but he knew a lot about it. We wanted to stream together, so we streamed Assassin's Creed Origins, but that's another story. That game is absolutely abominable, by the way. But Assassin's Creed fans will tell you it's not. But we all know it is, so you can stop pretending. Anyway, to continue with the story, we were living in an apartment, and I wanted to stream for a living because I wasn't really doing much musically, and I didn't have all the knowledge of recording audio like I do now. And you might be saying, well, how come your audio doesn't sound fucking god tier? Because I'm streaming through a capture card, so I don't know what you expect. I'm also using an A40 headset just to record the mic quality, because using the Blue Snowball or any of my dynamic microphones is literally too much of a hassle. But anyway, I wanted to stream for a living while I lived there, and I thought Color Splash would be a good thing to stream. Alright, this is an odd predicament. I'm gonna go ahead and just not keep the Fire Flower, because I really don't need it. I also need to acquire 3 PAL block, I need to acquire a PAL block for the upcoming events, which you will then see soon enough. But we used to play Color Splash. I used to play Color Splash and I wanted to stream it. So, in turn, I said, okay, I'm going to beat the game and then I'm going to stream it. But I had a job. I worked at a pizza joint, as well as I had a girlfriend who I would hang out with almost every day because we were thinking about moving in together at the time. And, as a youngster, I believed that, it'd work out fine. It never ended up happening, and I ended up dating a new girl in soon enough time. But at the time frame, I remember playing Color Splash while dating this girl and all the fun we had together. So when I play Color Splash, I remember her, and as kind of mushy and gay as that is, it's still something I like to think about. She wasn't a bad person or anything. We didn't sync up at the time. Our ideals and morals were not very much the same. But anyway, to continue with the story, I never ended up beating Color Splash. But I gotta say, I enjoy the environments. I'm gonna go ahead and sell this mystery. And just grab a PAL block. Also, you will see me pretty much fight every enemy. I do plan to just play this game casually and just run through it. I'm going to go ahead and hit the save block so we don't lose any progress as to be expected from a save block. Color Splash is a very interesting game because a lot of weird things happened in my life. A lot of turning point moments, if you will. And honestly, the Thousand Year Door has just covered so much time span for me, so many moments in my life that it doesn't really apply anymore to these emotions. I can't tie it to one thing. But with Color Splash and Super Paper Mario and Sticker Star and the such, I can only pinpoint it to one event, or at least not as many as Thousand Year Door here. Color Splash is honestly just I like it. I like the music and stuff. I think it's really well designed. I think there are really cool things. I think it's quirky and it fits Nintendo's standards. So I'm gonna go ahead and open these emails so it doesn't remind us every 2 seconds. For some reason, I used to think it was so funny that I could just never answer or read an email, and it would pop up a million times. Just a funny little thing. Yeah, but to continue the story, I lived in an apartment. I worked at a pizza joint. I drove a Jeep Cherokee from 1998, and that car was absolutely abominable, but God, do I miss it compared to the car I have now. No, there's really no point in fucking excavating and or investigating any trees or dirt or anything. I didn't have much going on, so I figured I would stream. And really, music wasn't really a big thing where I lived, and people who live there really think it is. And that when they're in this like quote-unquote what I like to call the country limelight, they feel like they're the special snowflake, but where I live now really tells you what the music industry really feels like. Put aside that, I wasn't doing anything with music, I wasn't recording like I am, I wasn't practicing, learning, or anything. I figured streaming would be a good way to make some extra cash and help pay for rent. And with this girl, I figured maybe, I could make a stupid clickbait title and say nude girl on stream or some stupid shit. And it wouldn't be true or anything. And she had a voice that a bunch of gentlemen weeps would like. I figured it was the perfect way to reel in some fucking morons and score a little bit extra cash for rent. I miss the days of just kind of chilling. I live a very busy life, not to really brag or anything. Ah! I'm so sorry if that just clipped the audio. I don't plan to compress it. But I do plan to cover all the Paper Mario games. I used to have a friend, his name I'll leave anonymously because I don't, for one, if he sees the video, I don't want to deal with the repercussions because we had a little bit of a falling out over some very silly things and mainly just a couple lies and some miscommunication between third party and outside sources. But we used to play this game annually together as well, and it was kind of our thing. Ever since I met the kid, the one bonding moment we had was over Kirby games and Paper Mario, the Thousand Year Door being our favorite game together. And honestly, it was just a really fun experience for the both of us. I didn't mean to do that. Stop. I almost did it again. We used to play it together. And I have a lot of memories with this game, thus, like I've said a million fucking times. But the point is that the point of the story is your friends are not your friends if they don't like Paper Mario: The Thousand Year Door. I'm just kidding, of course. That's not the truth. Now here, these enemies are not able to be damaged by any of our abilities, the hammer or jumping, as they have 2 defense. The only way to affect them is using the POW block, which is a ground attack. Every enemy we fight up in this segment will only have 2 health until we get to the next part of the game. We used to play the game together a lot. And the thing that really sucks is really as time goes on, you grow as a person, grow as an individual, and your ideals, your moralities, or your morals, and things like that begin to change, and so do your perceptions of your own friends. One thing people will always tell you is I don't like excuses. I think if you want something or you have a goal, you shouldn't have excuses for it. I think you shouldn't make excuses for dear near anything. And one of the problems is that him and his sibling, I will say, just they made excuses a lot for trying even just basic things like hanging out and just stuff like that. And it wasn't really personal. The issue is they were very much into marijuana. As time went on, this child and I went to high school together, and he wasn't really into weed or anything at the time. But all of a sudden, when he graduated, his parents and his brother were very much so into weed. And he wasn't really peer pressured or anything into doing it. But he ended up getting into it way too much. And it just kind of became his life. He got really engulfed in the idea of just getting high, eating, just doing normal high people things, just laughing at whatever, watching stupid shows and weird YouTube poops and whatever. That's still a thing people do when they're high. And just all around, really just sitting around doing nothing. And I used to be that way as well. We both used to get high all the time together and just kind of sit around, and it was enjoyable for our time, at our time in life and our age, to be fair. But it's just not the direction I wanted to take my life anymore. I knew that wasn't going to be successful, and I was getting much more serious with music as I was getting ready to move away from my hometown in the state I lived in, to come move to a different state to go to a different school for recording engineering and music production and the sorts. And I was just tired of it. Every time I would come home, I'd barely see the fucking kid because he would be busy smoking weed or just having nothing, or just doing really nothing. However, I don't want to make it sound like I'm ragging on him. In my mind, even though our falling out was a very bad one, and there was a lot of lying and manipulation, I still wish good for the kid. As it really wasn't his fault. He's just very malleable in the situation, and he's also defending his brother in the scenario. I'll tell the story with no names involved, and I'll tell it in the perspective of the truth. His brother, my friend's brother, is literally considered a sociopath. He's very notorious for lying, exaggerating the truth, and just literally making up stories about people, and making rumors and the such. And he's ruined a lot of friendships and connections with people for himself and for other people. He's ruined relationships and such, and it's honestly just really shitty. But we'd always believe him because he was our friend, and we didn't want to, hurt his feelings or anything. And our friend group, all in all, really did want the kid to do well in life, even though he was not really practicing or doing anything with music himself like he always planned on. But anyway, to divert from that point, at one point in his life, he had been submitted into a mental health vicinity to get some help for his random outbursts. He is very unstable and used weed as a crutch, and it wasn't good for him or anything. But it was very important to him, and he used to just kind of make excuses. If he wasn't in the limelight, he wasn't really alive, apparently. I guess is a good way to put it as well. But basically, he ended up lying enough to us that it became out of control. People were getting into fights, not physical fights or anything, although I wouldn't have been surprised if it amounted to that at some point. But luckily, none of us really fell victim to that. Now, before I continue the story, you're going to see me do something here. I know all the answers to the quiz because they don't end up spawning at different spots. However, I'm going to get them all wrong because then he spawns in 4 spiked kleps that I can fight. Thus why I bought the extra PAL block. They also, too, only have 2 HP. They're enemies from the next chapter that I will be fighting soon enough. But at the current status, this is supposed to be a sweep. If you've never played the game before and you didn't plan to buy the PAL block, you're going to go ahead and get fucked if you don't get all the questions right. So I'm going to go ahead and say everything that is incorrect so we can get the extra star points. Anyway, he was a very big liar, and it was just getting out of control. And he had just been submitted into a mental health vicinity for some help. And honestly, that's a good thing. It's not something I found to be an issue or anything. I thought it was more or less really awesome that he was trying to get help and trying to get his life on track. And when we visited him, he did seem really like better. He seemed like the kid we used to know when we were younger. the fucked up part is he would tell every party member a different story about either what he thought of a party member or somebody who had visited him or something like that, or his family or whatever was going on around him. So he didn't lose his sociopathic tendencies. He still ended up lying a lot. Now you're going to see me grab badge points again here, even though I don't really have a lot of badges to equip. However, getting a head start on badge points is really crucial, as it's going to make the game really easy, and we're going to pretty much be able to clean sweep most of the enemies without any issues from this point on. Anyway, he ended up being kind of crazy. But basically one day, he was texting, I had asked him if we could go grab a drum set for one of my friends. We need the drum set so we could practice in our buddies, for our show we were going to be doing, an open mic we were going to be doing back home. And so naturally we wanted the drum kit back, and it had been in his basement for a while, as that's where they had been storing it, and that's where we would play when we were at his house. But when we were at our other buddy's house to practice, we needed the drum kit back. It was his only drum kit. You don't usually see many, good drummers own multiple kits, at least where we live. It's not very likely, as there's not a lot of money to go around. And also, not to mention that it's just, where are you going to store multiple drum kits when you live in a small apartment, or, with your parents or with somebody, And, you might not be able to take your drum kit, but anyway, we took the drum kit. I went there, I drove over in my grandpa's car because I had been visiting I had just gotten home for break from I just got on break, so I was home for vacation, and we were getting the kit together so we could get ready for the open mic. So I texted him, and he had just been released from the mental health facility, and I ended up driving over in my grandpa's car, because my car was back at college. So we had driven over. I backed in, and we yanked all the shit out. And he said he wanted to talk to me personally. So I had said, okay, that's fine. We were gonna have to do it while we're moving stuff. Now, I'm not very good at, I'll admit, I'm not good with communication sometimes, but I had just kind of assumed that he was going to just start talking as he usually did whenever he had a problem or wanted to complain about something. He would usually just start talking about it, but I showed up, I gave him a smile, I said, let's get the drum kit, and I said, let's get to work, we gotta get the kit, because I have to pick up, because my buddy was getting out of work in about 30 minutes upon arrival at his house, where the drum kit was, and I needed to pick him up from work. I had to pick up my other friend from work, so I didn't have a lot of time. So I told him that he probably should talk to me while I was over there. However, what I neglected to notice is that text message did not send, so that is a little bit my fault. However, I did just kind of assume he was going to start talking. Although, oh wait, don't do that. It's also, I guess I can take some blame here, because it is somewhat my fault that the communication was misled. However, it's not my fault that he refused to communicate, because I did bring up while we were moving the kit, alright, what is it? And then he was starting to talk, and I had started to walk up the stairs. I imagine it's something he didn't want his father to hear, who was home at the time. And I didn't really think it was a big deal. He had been antisocial ever since he got out of the mental health facility, which is a very big no-no, especially when you're submitted for what he was submitted for, which I will keep private for the safety of him and his family. But he had remained mainly silent and didn't really say stuff. So I ended up getting the drum kit into the car with him and his assistance from his dad. And he didn't end up saying anything. So I was about to go back into the house, but they had locked the door behind me on my way out to check to make sure everything was in the car properly so it wouldn't get damaged. And I ended up, I didn't end up hearing much about him. And I didn't really, I was running short on time. I didn't want to really go in and knock on the door and anything. I had to get Dane, or I had to get my friend Dane. I figured it wasn't a big deal. I'd let it slide. So, of course, I don't text and drive. I've known a few people who've gotten into some really bad car accidents texting and driving. Honestly, texting and driving is probably one of the stupidest things you can do as a human being. You're not only endangering yourself, your loved ones that might be in the car with you, you're also just being an inconvenience and a danger to society around you. So I don't text and drive. So upon leaving, he had messaged me privately on Messenger for Facebook. And I saw it popped up, and he had started to state that he didn't care about me or anything, or I didn't care about him, and that I was a piece of shit and this and that and whatever. I don't quite remember the full details. However, as it goes, he was telling me I didn't care about him, and I told him I would be back. I was going to come back after we practiced. If we had some spare time, we were all going to come see him. But the thing about it is that he didn't want to see anybody else but me. But the weird part of the whole sociopathic part is that he told everybody that I was the one who cared about him the least while he was in the mental health facility. I never cared about him in general, but for some reason he only wanted to see me and told all of his family members that I was the only one he trusted and that he could trust me again over some incidents in our past. Growing up, I knew him when I was a very emotional and unstable teenager, and he really influenced and really sparked the flames of my bad tendencies as a kid. I made a lot of bad decisions based on him and the lies and rumors he told me. He made me cuss out and betray some of my friends in the long run. And honestly, I never wanted to get personally close to him again after that point. So I don't really know why he thought that I was ever going to get close to him again. But for some reason he did. Now the weird part that comes along with the story is that for some reason he uses these ideas that he was finally going to be able to trust me and stuff to play the victim card against me. Now, to continue with in the present tense of the story, he had texted me a very, very not smart thing. So he was submitted into a mental health facility for personal reasons and just suicidal tendencies. And we didn't want him to kill himself. As good friends, I imagine, do. Even if you, my grandma put it in a really really good way. I'd rather lose a friend than bury one. And I take that to heart a little bit as well. And it is honestly the truth. I'm glad I lost him as a friend than found out he died because I didn't take action after this. He had texted me, I don't care, nobody cares, something blah 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 to that extent. But then he said, I just want to die, I'm going to kill myself. And he just got out of this mental health facility like 2 or 3 days, maybe 4 prior to that event. And it was just an all-in-all bad time. So, I didn't exactly go and call the police or anything. I didn't even see the text until I got to my friend's job. I picked him up, and then I finally looked at my phone as I walked in to go let him know I was there. I looked at my phone, and I'd seen these text messages. So I said to him, what do we do about this? So we got to his house, we dropped the drum kit off, and we didn't message him back. Well, that's not 100% true. We didn't message him back in a way that he would have wanted. I said me and Dane were gonna come and see him and whatever. Or me, him, and my other friend Chad were gonna come see him. Or something to that extent. And he would not allow that. So he was clearly in emotional status. Because later on, I didn't text him back because I thought he was just being dramatic. But at the same time, I was very worried because it was also a very serious thing to be saying. That you want to kill yourself after being released from a mental health facility. That is pretty much rule number 1. Gotta pay attention to that stuff. So, of course, I bring it up with my grandma who works in crisis and stuff. And she's trained and well-versed in these kinds of incidents. So we waited for my friend Chad and we all got together and we talked about it. And we talked about it for a solid half hour tops. We really had to sit down and broke down what we were going to do and what the smart move was, and what I just did there was not a smart move. I apologize. However, I'm not going to go heal because it's not worth it. We had sat down, we talked about it, and we had come to the conclusion that it was better that we get the cops involved and get him removed and get him sent back to the mental health facility where he could get the help he needed. Now, I won't go into personal details as to avoid any kind of detrimental you know, somebody could crack the code, somebody who knows me personally, who didn't know the story or might bring it up, or, I just also don't want to bring it out loud. But his home life was not very good. His childhood was not very good. Everything about his life really wasn't very good, which is why we were kind of concerned. So upon further investigation of his life, we dictated that this was not a good place for him to be upon leaving a mental health facility where he was clearly doing better. He won't claim he was doing better because he's in denial, and that's just how he was. He'll just deny anything good in his life. We're not really sure why, and we wish it wasn't that way. However, his home life was really terrible, and his parents are very, dare I say, influential on his life. And he's a very malleable human, so he starts to believe these things and rumors and such events and yada yada. It's not worth the details. However, he was very emotional, and he did start to text me back saying, "You are coming back." And so our plan was we were going to text him and keep him from killing himself if that was indeed his plan, which was all a lie in the end, which is a little shitty, but we didn't want him to do it. So we told him that, and we had a gig. We had to go to this open mic and go do a gig up in a couple, like 50, 70 miles away from home. So we went to the police station, we brought up the event, and let me be clear, these guys were like some of my best friends. All of them were really great friends of mine. I really did not want to do this. I did not want to bring the police into this. I know their family very well, and they do not handle cops well for their own personal vendettas, which I won't go into detail, but they don't handle cops well. And I knew bringing the cops into this situation was just going to be a detrimental task. It was honestly going to ruin our friendship, but the way they handled their side as well was absolutely abominable. So basically, we report to the cops, we go do the show, and I don't hear anything about anything at all, period, for the whole time we're at the show. Of course, I'm not checking my phone while I'm playing. And honestly, all in all, I was just busy. I get a text message from him, and he didn't get it. And what really irked me is that the police officers, after all we told them, everything we said, just played it off like it wasn't a serious thing. Like his threats, we showed him text messages, we showed him evidence, we explained to him all the situations. The cops personally know me and my family out of connections as friends, and even then they didn't act the way that they should have. And it's honestly just handled absolutely poorly. So he didn't get submitted or even put in somewhere where he could be monitored. Apparently, according to the cops, his mom had persuaded them out of it, which is honestly kind of shitty. Because if this was a serious event, I don't know why she would be trying to keep him away from the help he needs. But that's just the way their family is. So basically, he didn't get submitted. Now, what really fucking sucks here is that his brother worked at a pizza joint, the same pizza joint I did for a while. And I ended up quitting that job to go do bigger and better things. And they're Italian, so they have this big mafia family bullshit attitude so they try to guilt you when you leave and yada yada, which is why he still worked there, because he felt guilted into being there. And it's honestly kind of shitty that they would do that to somebody, especially a kid who just graduated high school. But he was at work at the time, and he didn't get out until 11, so he had no idea of what was going on until much, much later in the evening, when everything was brought up to him that I had betrayed them and all this shit. What's really fucked up that I think needs to, again, be stated for anybody who's coming in... Oh, fuck, I just messed that up. Coming into this story. I was the last one who wanted to do any of the things they blamed me for. I did not want any of those things to happen to those people. I knew it was going to be bad news bears. And if you've ever read a Berenstein book, you know that there are just some things you don't do and to prevent problems. And that happened to fucking be one of them. And I knew these were going to be bad things. You can ask everybody who was involved. Anybody involved will tell you that I was on edge and uncomfortable being in the police station doing this to my friends, my close friends who I had missed dearly upon leaving my home to go to college, to go be something. People I look forward to seeing. And to think that my friendship with them was going to end over a lie was absolutely atrocious. And what's more fucked up is that the sociopath himself, admits that he did not want things to go this far, as if he fucking planned this out the whole goddamn time. There's a bunch of denial and yada yada. It's not really worth the details. However, it is worthy to mention that it is noted that he did pretty much set this up. So there was a lot of heat from him. There was a lot of heat from his brother as well. I was able to tone his brother down with some logic, but over the course of time, Russell kept, his brother kept feeding into this mental status and all this stuff, and just eventually being his brother. Of course, he's going to believe him over anybody, their family. Why would he not? And honestly, I can respect that out of his brother. I can respect that, even though the logic was there. He respected his brother and wanted to do the right thing for his family. He just cares about his family. I don't blame him. And honestly, the only reason things got so bad is because he took things too far in the arguments and really started to personally attack me, which is really just not okay, in all honesty, because they had started the personal attacks and such, but I was able to turn him down for a little bit, but then things just did not pick up, and no matter how many times we threw the logic at them, it was all my fault. No matter how many times we had stated, we had multiple people bringing up the point, and people who were involved, saying that it wasn't just me who did this, and that it was all of us, all of the group of people were involved in these antics, and all these things that were involved. Now, one of his friends, that is my friend personally, and I don't want to rip on him at all, we'd always say to him things to fuck with him a little bit, and our sociopath friend here was saying some very, very bad things, wishing death upon me and saying ways he could want to kill me and such. I eventually screen capped him in case I ever had to take him to court or I had to show the police for any reason. And it was just getting really bad. And our friend would kind of fuck with him even when he was pissed off because he thought it was funny. And honestly, it is kind of funny because he was known for overreacting to things and just taking things way too far, and then not realizing how bad the consequences would be until he was getting slapped in the fucking sphincter by the world's big fat schlong. So he ended up realizing the consequences of his actions very late into the story, and it all turned out to be really sour. So I ended up losing a lot of friends over this event, all because one kid lied. He had then admitted eventually that the suicide and the saying he wanted to kill himself was not true, and it was just a way to get some attention. He won't say it in that exact format, but that's basically the structure he'll try to go. You ask anybody who's involved who isn't on the fucking blacklisted people list of their entire family. It's kind of shitty. They take it personal, and honestly, I played my part a little bit shitty afterwards too. They got very personal and started to really piss me off, and at the age I was very much easy to piss off. Well, that's not necessarily 100% true, but they were getting way personal that I felt that, you know what, if they're gonna throw this friendship away, it doesn't matter. I'm just gonna go ahead and fuck with them too. I did not do anything drastically as bad at them. I just kind of bad-mouthed them a little bit. No negative intentions or anything drastically dangerous upon their life or anything. I just said a couple mean things like fuck you and you're stupid. And over the course of time, they took the entire event seriously, and after a while I started to think it was a joke, and then it stopped really being serious after a while. And honestly, it had stopped being serious. After so much time, it just stopped being serious. And honestly, after figuring out it was all a lie and the fact that everybody was still playing it as if it wasn't, even though we all found out it was kind of silly, and I thought it was kind of dramatic. So I kind of played into it and trolled for a little bit. I also got a little drunk because it was New Year's at the time. I ended up saying some things I fucking shouldn't, but they weren't deadly or like threatening or anything. I just said some things that I shouldn't have said, like I really don't want to ever see you again, stuff like that. And honestly, upon growing up and growing older, you know, you look back and you laugh at the stupidity that you spout out of your own mouth. But all in all, we never ended up making up, and I really don't think there will be a makeup anytime soon, or ever for that matter, because of how personal I got. Now, personally, I'm a forgive and forget kind of guy. At least at this point in my life, I like to try and let things go, but it's just so hard to do so that I don't think it'll ever happen. But one thing I will say that I do appreciate is all the good memories I have with them, and I don't ever forget them. And Paper Mario 1000 Year Door is one of those things that it was also spanned over a period of time with him and his brother, and I don't like to forget it. And honestly, upon losing the friendship, it's not that I forgot any of the fun things we did together or anything like that. And I won't ever forget the memories, and a good chunk of all the stupidity and stupid things we used to do together and say are still with me. They won't ever deter or die. It's just as you grow up, you realize how silly things can be. So, a follow-up story, because this is when things start to get actually kind of funny. No, I had returned to college at this point. It had been about 3 or 4 months since I had returned back home to the app for another break. I had pretty much forgotten about the event. There were a couple things left at his household that were mine, and I would like them back, and he just kind of ignored me. So I tried to get hold of his brother, which I was then ghosted on as well. So I had to get my mother involved, and honestly, it's a little embarrassing to say I had to get my mom involved in the situation. And the way they treated my mother is really what kind of broke the camel's back here and ruined the friendship forever. They just ghosted my family and just ghosted my mother and just did not communicate with her in any format. And she was just a mid-party. She wasn't really involved in any way. In the drama itself, she's just trying to help me get my stuff back. Inevitably did get everything back. However, my mother had gone to pick up some of my musical instruments, like my bass guitar and my amplifier and stuff that I let them borrow and such. Like some of my paraphernalia and stuff like that. So I wanted it back because I'd spend money on all of it, and some of them were personally bought items for me by my family, like my grandparents and stuff. You know, like all my bongs are bought by my grandparents, of course. That's a joke. Don't take that seriously. But upon further evaluation, my mom was only able to get my amplifier back, which was strange because I forgot you have to go break the block. Which was strange because in all honesty, why are you not able to give me all my stuff back? So I started to call bullshit because I knew how my friend's brother was, and being a sociopath and all, he was lying and hiding. He was never home when my mom was available, but we knew he was home because every time my mom would tell me who he was hanging out with, I would text the person he's hanging out with, quote unquote, hanging out with directly to try and get some information, which was all completely and utterly false. They were never together, and it was always a lie. And all my friends who were not even involved in the situation in the middle of the party were trying to help me out. And we're just trying to do me a serious solid and just trying to get my stuff back. It's a lot of money. I just wanted it back. Who wouldn't, in my situation, I imagine, who wouldn't want their stuff back? And honestly, just give the stuff back. It's been a long time. Just let it go, you know? It's not a big deal, but apparently it really was. It's a little childish to do these little petty things, but I don't hold on to those emotions that go with it at that current moment in time. As it's over with, you know. But it is a funny story in my mind. Now, the real kicker to the story. Now, a little backtracking so we can get a little bit of the butter into the bowl here for the cookies before we make the cookies. My buddy Cody and I had wanted to learn how to be luthiers a little bit, you know, at least get more into the in-depth structure and such of guitars and understanding the ins and outs of them, as we just kind of knew how to play and we didn't know much about them. And I knew Cody was more familiar than I, and I wanted to build my own bass, so I bought a DIY kit. We made it together. We carved the wood and whatever, and or we got the wood prepared and whatever, and you know, we did it. It was fun, and so we crafted this bass guitar. It was a bass guitar that I'd let him have, my friend have, to learn to play because he said he was interested in learning an instrument. And I was like, oh, of course, man, that's awesome. You know, I love when people want to learn music, so why would I deny him the privilege? So I let him have my amplifier, some of my stuff that I didn't use anymore in the bass. And we crafted. I said, hey, I made the bass, and it's gonna be cool. I'll get to see it in guinea pig action, where I get to see it. I get to check up on it and see how it's doing. You know, readjust the truss rod, do a intonation adjustment. You know, just do all the cool stuff, and he'd be able to learn on it, and I'd be able to teach him while it was happening. And you know, it was just awesome. Of course, the issue that eventually comes forth here is what happened to the bass guitar. So, one thing you should know about my friend's sociopathic brother is that he's obsessed with Stephen King's It. He's so obsessed that he relates it to his real life as if he's living the movie himself. It's a little crazy, but what do you do? So basically, he wrote on my bass and carved and destroyed it because he was pissed at me over petty shit. Now the problem is that me and my friend Cody had worked really hard on this bass together, and so it really hit home for him as well because we crafted it together. And it was honestly kind of upsetting. It only upset me because it upset him so much. Because to me it was just an experience, but to him it was a thing we did together. And I you know, once he made it more clear to me that it really bugged him in that way, it started to bug me in that way a lot too. And you might be thinking to yourself, you should just immediately feel that way, dickhead. And it's true, but I didn't think he was going to destroy it, so I didn't make a big deal out of him getting it back. But then when he destroyed it, it did irk me enough to the point that I did have to threaten to bring him to court. And so on and so forth, which is still being processed, and I'm getting ready for the court date and thus, and so on and so forth, but that's all backliner stuff. So he ended up destroying my bass. He lit it on fire a little bit. Like, he didn't light the whole thing on fire or anything. He was just burning the headstock, and he just damaged the whole thing. He took some knobs off. He replaced some knobs. He cut some wires. He broke some stuff. He stabbed. He tried to saw the bass itself, the body of it, and all this stuff. And honestly, it didn't really, like, it wasn't really a personal attack on me because it was honestly so kind of funny how pitifully petty it was that he did that. The only reason it bothered me was just watching my friend get upset. So yeah, he ended up destroying the bass over stuff that was so old. Now to be fair, oh fuck, my mistake. Now to be fair, I did poke some fun at him on Instagram, as I typically do, but I was just kind of poking a funny joke. I wasn't trying to actually provoke him or anything. My buddy had sent me a meme you would see in like 2012 or 10. Whatever time frame you want to associate the meme with. It was one of the ones with a picture and then text. And it was just a picture of the sociopath himself and his face. And he's a big fan of the Beatles, like a diehard fan of the Beatles, that he wants his tone to sound absolutely abominable, just like the Beatles. He bought a Rickenbacker for $2,000 that is literally a bucking Frankenstein monstrosity. And it just sounds honestly awful. He would do anything to be John Lennon or George Harrison or something of that format. I don't fucking remember which Beatle he wanted to dress up as every day. He had the shoes, the coat, and whatever. So the meme had said Beatles are the best band ever. And it was just kind of, it was just stupid. It was silly. Oh wait, I forgot we need to go grab a key. It was just a silly thing. I didn't think much of it, but I tagged him in it on Instagram, and I thought it would be funny. Now, of course, a lot of people said you shouldn't have done that, and I guess after watching the repercussions come out, I guess I shouldn't have, but it was funny. It's alright, funny to me. I found enjoyment. I still do find enjoyment the fact that he overreacted to the point of destroying an instrument that was property of me. Now, nobody sides with him because he should have destroyed the bass. And if he wanted to win the argument and be the bigger man, he wouldn't have destroyed it, and that's not my personal opinion. That's what everybody else was saying. My personal opinion is he should just given it back and just not done anything, even if I did provoke him. I've lived through a lot of incidents in life where I've been provoked. There's no point in getting all stressed out over it. But anyway, it was just kind of silly to me that he destroyed the bass over a picture. Honestly, all in all, I do wish the best for all of them. There's not going to be a good future for them if they're still in the current status that they were when I used to live with them or live near them and talk to them. But lo and behold, things happen, life goes on. I do still wait for the day that they'll apologize for taking things to the extreme and just apologize for the things they say. And when they do that, I feel like everything will be better, not because I will be letting go of my grudge, but because I've already said my apologies and received no apology back. So that's the story of what... So that's just that story of the time where I was playing Paper Mario and these events were happening. Now that I've told you a story for the last hour and a half, let's get back to Paper Mario: The Thousand-Year Door. As you can see, we're almost... If you know the game, you know that we're almost to the end of the segment, which is where I'll be ending the stream as soon as I beat the, Yeah, it's a nice little trick I learned. It's not really fast or anything, I just think it's funny. Pardon me. Oh, please, pardon me. That is very rude of me. What was I saying? Oh, yes. That's just a little goofy thing. We're really close to the end here. I'll be beating the intermissions in between, and then I will be moving on to, I'll probably stream again tomorrow if I'm not hanging out with my friends at Fuddruckers or some stupid thing that we like to do. I'll probably stream it tomorrow on Memorial Day. For a Memorial Day stream. Pardon me yet again. In honor of our soldiers, I'll probably do a stream talking about... Or just to, you know, highlight how important it is that we respect our soldiers and the such. As I have some personal friends who are in the military, as well as friends whose family members and or personal friends of them have been in the military serving for us, and we need to honor the loss of our veterans and thus and so on and so forth. And however you want to however you want to celebrate is up to you. I will be streaming though for fun because I think it's, you know, I think this game is honestly fun to play, and I have an easy time talking over it and just being a streamer in general. I also don't really stream for like views or anything. I just kind of stream for fun, just to show people what's, you know, games I enjoy. If it does pick up, that'll be great, but I don't really make a big deal out of it. Now, in this room, we were encountered by the Thought Miss Mouse herself, the pseudo pussy mouse who's a badge collector, I guess, who's always just trying to make her riches via selling badges. And getting, pardon me, a lot of money for what they're worth. You can get her as a playable character later, which I will be doing. Oh, hold on. I had to focus for 1 second. My hand was down my pants, jerking my cock off while I was streaming. So I was playing with one hand for a moment. I apologize. No, but seriously. She ends up joining your party. She's a very useful character in terms of stealing the items of the opponents if they're holding one, which you can sometimes see in combat. And it's really crucial sometimes that you have her, because sometimes the enemies hold badges that you can't always get on drop, but you can succeed in grabbing through combat. All in all, I probably won't use her a ton in the stream, because I'm not... number one, not manipulating RNG to benefit me in any format. So I'm not going to be trying to grind for the badges either. But all in all, I might actually end up using her a few times. Also, I won't be doing any speedrunner strategies or glitches or anything. Like, I won't be doing palace skip or anything. I won't be using perfect movements or anything. I'm just going to have a casual, fun game and just kind of have a good time. Now, something you may or may not have noticed is that our brother Luigi is in the audience every once in a while. The thing about Luigi that a lot of people don't know is that he'll be jerking his cock off the entire time in the audience. And every time Mario does something special, he'll be shooting his star load up here. Originally, there were a bunch of rumors, but back in the day when games were rumored rather than just released, leaked, and/or just revealed. So there were rumors, just like with the Raichu incident in Melee, that you could get Luigi as a partner in Mario, or in Paper Mario: Thousand-Year Door, which is of course a complete other fucking lie. Although it would have been really nice to have him as a playable character in my opinion. Oh boy, how you know I gotta get to bed here soon. When the yawns start to capitalize. Honestly, I don't even know what they would do with Raichu in Melee, even if he was in it. Which brings me to a topic I would like to talk about. I am not on board with Ridley being put into Smash Bros. Ridley is a boss character in Metroid, and is a very cool character at that. Has been featured in some stages in the Mario, or in the Smash Bros. Universe. Yeah, he's been featured as a character you can fight against as like a boss for a stage in Smash 4. He was a boss you fought in the Space Emissary in Smash Bros. 3 Brawl. And honestly, I don't see how we're going to make Ridley. I just don't see how Ridley's gonna work. A lot of people, I've watched quite a few videos explaining and having models, like spoof models design just to test it out. I think like that, but I just don't see it. I just don't see it. It just doesn't seem like it's gonna happen. And all in all, as much as I like Ridley and Metroid itself, I just don't see it happening. Although I am super excited to see who the new Smash Bros. Characters are. No, I'm not here to toot my own horn or anything, but I did play professionally. I did play professional Smash Bros. For a while. I was never a Melee freak, but I did get into Smash 4 very competitively, and did practice like a pro, and I did have some good moments at tournaments. I used to place pretty high in some local tournaments. Nothing to, brag about or anything, but it was something I wanted to do. I thought Smash Bros. Was fun, and I was really good at it. So I figured, why would I not go pro? But upon going to my college, there was a tournament for Smash Bros. 4 here that I ended up getting bodied because I was so nervous because the entire event was being streamed. Now, you might notice that we dropped, before I continue the story, you might notice the block drop. There's a little staircase down there where we couldn't progress without the block being the final step. Well, seeing as we come back to this area, I will not be going down there to grab the badges. The badge is also kind of useless. But there was a tournament here, and I ended up choking out on stream, even though I was absolutely slaughtering everybody on stream. However, the dude I was fighting was an absolutely great player. He was all in all phenomenal player. I will not blame my loss on him getting lucky or anything. He had all the skill. He had all the skills implemented, and he was just all around good. So I'm not trying to say that he is in any format garbage or got lucky or anything like that. I also messed up this phase here, so I'm just going to go ahead and appeal. I ended up choking out on stream and losing the fight against this guy named Luminous. He's a very good player, and I do once in a while see him on campus, and I do shoot at him a little bit, and we talk. And I'm very excited for Smash 5 to come out, because I imagine me and him, there will be another tournament at the school that will be for the school's team for Smash Bros. And I'll probably end up getting on it this time because I'll probably practiced enough to know what's going on. My hopes and dreams are that they don't really bring over Bayonetta or Cloud or anybody into Smash 5. That might anger a few of you, but I don't think he belongs in Smash 5 initially. I think upon looking at it non-biasly, Cloud and Bayonetta work in Smash Bros. They fit, they work, they're playable. They're not broken in any format in terms of being in the game. They don't break how the game works. They're not balanced characters in any format. However, they are indeed good characters and structured really well. That being said, I don't think they should be seen on initial release day. I also am really hoping that there aren't a ton of DLC characters and that we just get a really big roster right away with a few adjustments like we did with Smash 4, where we got like Roy, Lucas, Mewtwo. It was awesome to see Nintendo finally implement DLC characters though. However, I do think there should be free ones if they're going to go back in time, like they did with Roy, Lucas, and Mewtwo. Although Mewtwo was free, I think Lucas and Roy should have been free as well, as they were characters from the old Smash Bros. Games. Roy coming from Melee, and Lucas coming from Brawl. However, I am really excited to see what the roster is going to look like, what characters they're going to throw in. I really hope they take Lucina out and maybe put Chrom or Ryoma or Xander or Camilla or somebody from a newer Fire Emblem at the least. Because Robin was in the game, Corrin was in the game. There were a lot of Fire Emblem characters. But I like Fire Emblem, so I'm not upset. However, there were quite a few. I don't think there need to be that many again. And so on and so forth. I just really, honestly, I used to critique games very critically because I thought I was going to go into game design rather than be in music like I am. I thought I was going to be a game designer and go off to do all these cool things with video games because I was really good at coding and stuff when I took it in school. Because we had a coding class in high school and we had a game design class in high school as well. And I thought that game design was what I was going to do with my life. And I honestly, after getting angry and frustrated with video games, it's just not worth it anymore. It's just better to just have fun with video games in my mind now, so that's the way I like to look at it. And with Smash Bros. Coming out, I'm just trying to be optimistic. I imagine we're going to get a character from ARMS. I imagine we're going to get a character from Splatoon, thus for the trailer, having the Splatoon characters fighting, and so on and so forth. Now you may be seeing that I picked badge points like I think 5 times now. You might think that's absolutely ludicrous. However, you will see how important it is to get these early game badge points for a really smooth run. For a really smooth, casual, fun experience run. And it's honestly not even a big deal. However, pardon me. However, I'm just looking optimistically at it as I'm really excited to see new characters be implemented in Smash. And Smash being on the Switch is a really big deal, as Smash Bros. Has always been played on LAN console or just console split screen or couch split screen. Please excuse me. Couch fighting. You know, you're just playing with your friends in the same console. However, with the Switch being personal screens, I can't wait to see. We'll have 2 controllers at all times, which will be abominable and probably won't be implemented that way. However, it will be really exciting to see games, Smash Bros. Being played publicly around the world with a Switch. And I'm very excited to see it in action. Now here we are fighting Hooktail. Now there wasn't a lot of character development in terms of this character's arrival. The thing that you should know about Hooktail is that she does not like crickets. Crickets make her stomach sick. Earlier in the level during my story fiasco, I talked about, I was talking over the moment, but I grabbed the Special FX, I think it's 0 badge. It makes the sound of a cricket, which makes her stomach feel bad, so she ends up doing less and less damage the more we beat the shit out of her. We're looking like Chris Brown beating Rihanna over here, because every time we hit her, she just gets a little bit weaker. That was not appropriate. I apologize. I don't really get over yourselves. Anyway, on a serious note, this boss fight is really not hard. Hooktail had very little character development as a character in the game. And really we don't hear much about Hooktail ever again until right around the end of the game as a little joke sploof kind of thing. Because we end up killing this dragon. We do end up killing her. Mario actually gets cold blood on his hands from Hearthstone. He doesn't combo it though, I don't know what's up with that. As you can see there, I took no damage because the more we've been hitting him, or hitting her, the harder it is for her to damage us. Please pardon me. Ladies and gentlemen, I apologize. Right around the end of the game, there's a little moment where we end up fighting her older sister, who then figures out we killed her. And we body the older sister anyway, so it doesn't matter. If they weren't getting in our way, it wouldn't be a problem. And honestly, I think it's kind of funny that a Mario game, an RPG Mario game's first boss was the most generic boss for an RPG ever of Dragon. I just think it's funny. It's not really like a big deal or anything, but I just find it to be humorous in its own little way. Now, I did say I was going to finish the intermissions before the stream ended. However, I'm probably going to go ahead and end up, I'm very tired, and I'm probably going to end up passing the intermission. Oh my goodness, please pardon me. I'm probably going to end up passing the intermissions on to tomorrow's stream, if that's alright with everybody. You know, all 0 of you are here because you're all probably in bed, getting ready to celebrate a delicious barbecue on Memorial Day to celebrate the soldiers who fight, who have fought, and who have died for us, which is something we really should commend and be respectable about. Our soldiers deserve it. So there you go. I just bodied Hooktail. And now the whole reason this turtle guy even showed up is because he wanted to fight Hooktail, because he heard we were going to fight Hooktail for the Crystal Star. His dad had come here to fight Hooktail and never came back. Well, it's a classic RPG made by Nintendo, so you know there's going to be a happy ending. So Koops gets to see his dad. However, all the other Koopas who have died fighting Hooktail, who are fucking dry bones in this area, ended up just getting the fucking shit end of the stick and just end up being fucking dead altogether. It's kind of shitty, but what do you do? Anyway, Hooktail had eaten the Crystal Star, and his dad had found it in his stomach. And it's for me and Mario. It's for Mario. It's for our main man Mario. So we're gonna go ahead and take this shit, and we're gonna end the first chapter on a pretty nice note. It's just nice to see, you know, basic things in storytelling like this, you know, come true, happen. You know, it's enjoyable. But yeah, so that's the first chapter, and then it gives you a little synopsis, or not like a synopsis, it gives you a little question, it is kind of like a little summary. It's also a little question to the future. But anyway, so this goes on to the Peach intermission. You know what? Because it all ties together into one chapter. And also, I don't really have to interact really at all in terms of like actually paying attention. I could just kind of skip through it and just get ready to go to chapter 2 for tomorrow's stream. So the thing about these intermissions with Peach is that, so if it wasn't clear, if we watched the intro of the game together, you would see that Peach opened a chest and ended up finding the map and sent the map to Mario in the beginning of the game. That's why we're here. Honestly, before I continue even talking about the story, can we acknowledge how cool of an environment Rogueport is? What a distant way, what a weird way to introduce a Mario game. It's just so interesting if you really think about it. How strange. Anyway, it's nothing crazy. Mario 64 had paintings you jumped into, and there are a bunch of things, but the thing about these intermissions is that they're to progress the story. They're not really to enhance any of Mario's gameplay in any way. They're really just to flourish out the story and just really fill in plot points and make, you know, build a little bit of the story. And the story of this game is actually really good in my opinion. Writing is heavily subjective, so I don't take offense if you don't agree with me. And I'm not going to try and argue with you unless you really want to, but it's not really an argument if you're talking to me in general. But this game is just so very interesting. But basically there are Peach intermissions to kind of flourish out the story. And knowing Nintendo, they didn't want to leave Bowser out. So there are Bowser intermissions as well at the end of every chapter. Bowser does end up coming into play a little bit. And you play these little goofy levels that are like stylized as the 2D Mario platformer games. It's all around just fun. So real quick, we're gonna take a shower real quick if that's alright, guys. Look, dude, look, just close your eyes if you're not ready. I'm not gonna censor this, so you gotta, if your little baby eyes aren't ready for this, you might want to close them. Are they closed? Did you close them? Alright, Peach is having a little bit of a early shower orgasm. She's got the shower head. She's got the little hose shower head version as well. Rubbing on her clit, really getting the water, really milking her up. Getting her ready to fucking absolutely just climax all over the place. You can tell by her blushing cheeks that she really just hit the fucking G-spot with the full force of a fucking typhoon coming from that hose. Anyway, enough of these provocatively gross jokes. I meant to say rancid, but whatever. Peach's little thing here. She interacts with this computer named Tech, which we're going to be interacting with in a few seconds here, who lets us have contact with Mario. Although Peach is constantly discovering what's going on in the plot in a way that Mario cannot. Tech falls in love with Peach, yada yada. It's not really much more to it. Tech helps us out. He lets us talk to Mario. He tries to help us escape, yada yada. It's just a weird love story. It's a weird side love story that's really unimportant and just all around very odd. But anyway, it's not really worth watching. Like, it's not really worth going into detail about. So Tech's whole thing is he's perfect and he's having emotions he doesn't understand. He knows what love means, but he doesn't know what it means to feel it, and for some reason this robot computer can just feel emotions, which I think is a little strange. But hey, I'm not here to judge you. Do as you fucking please. I think as time has progressed, there are a lot of weirder things in life, so I don't make a big deal out of a computer having feelings for a princess in a video game. The one part about the excuse me, I'm falling asleep. One thing that's really scary about the Peach missions is there's just a lot of talking. For the first few run-throughs, you know, maybe your first time, if you're really not paying attention the second time, it's really good to pay attention. And sometimes I do... Oh, that's fine. It is important to do these parts of the game and pay attention, but just like Infinity War, if you haven't fucking seen it yet, I'm gonna spoil it for you. Alright, so the first intermissions for the both of them are just talking intermissions. There's no interactive intermissions in terms of like levels or going and doing something other than moving your character around and interacting with the environment. We're about to wrap it up here, so I'm gonna kind of do my closer. We get really close to the end here. So this is Bowser. He's the guy you can shoot fire. All in all, Bowser plays no real detrimentally major role in the game. But he still is a part of it, and he still has some influence on it. Now, the humor of this game is absolutely top-notch. It has clearly grown over the ages. It has aged well. I mean that sarcastically and sometimes a little bit seriously. There are some actually kind of funny moments that I still think are good in this game, but, you know, nobody's memeing them, so I mean, what does it mean? I like how Bowser addresses her as Cammy Koopa, like her full fucking name. Alright. He says something about being Mario's babysitter, that there's a treasure in Mario, and then she asks if we like fried eggs. You can say yes or no, and it doesn't matter, because she's trying to throw a picnic, and Bowser gets pissed, because it's like, okay, that's not really what we're here for, you stupid degenerate old hag. Listen, Stormy Daniels, in the next 20 years. I'm not here to fucking listen to you talk. So anyway, Princess Peach, she brings up that ST Peach has been kidnapped, and that we gotta go get her and her Woody. I'm just kidding around. ST Peach is a very quality streamer. I mean no rudeness or any type of disrespect towards her. However, but anyway, continuing on, Bowser goes off. He's going to get involved. I don't know why he wants to get involved. But that's the first two intermissions for Peach, or the first intermissions for Peach and Bowser. In the first chapter of Paper Mario Thousand Year Door. I hope you guys liked it. If you did, feel free to I think there's a subscribe button. There will be a subscribe button. Feel free to follow the Twitch channel here, so you get updated when we, get the stream up and going. And, if you just want to, watch me play more games and just tell goofy stories about my life. And just, all in all, just have fun. I'm just here to, I'm not making Twitch my job or anything. I'm just having fun. It's just going to be something I upload to YouTube just for archive's sake. Just to look back on and laugh like I do with my YouTube videos previously. So yeah, guys, thank you so much for, tuning into the stream. I really appreciate it. Well, see ya. Bye-bye.